Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so today we are going to continue with what we were doing on the last term. We have started studying the 8255 programmable peripheral interface, right? And okay, let me begin the recording first. So we are going to continue with what we were doing on the last term. We started 8255 programmable peripheral interface on the last term, and we have studied some basic things about 8255. How does it operate? What are the ports available to it? What is the purpose of using 8255? So we said that there will be three ports in 8255: port A, port B, and port C, and they can be grouped into two parts, group A and group B. Group A will contain port A and the upper part of port C, and group B will contain port B and the lower part of port C. And there is a control register. So the purpose of using 8255 is to be able to provide an interface to connect various peripherals, right? Because although the address bus and data bus is present and it is capable of getting attached to any output input output peripheral, but it is usually not done in that way. For attaching input output devices, we have various things like 8255. 8255 is one such device, right? So here the ports A, B, and C, they can be programmed in various modes. They can be operated in various modes, and devices can be connected, right? So 8255 is essentially a device which does not have a clock input, which does not have a clock input, but it has a control register, right? So this control register is an internal register to 8255, which is used by the microprocessor to write something onto that. And accordingly, whatever bits are present in the control word register, some of the ports will be selected from this and the operations can be done. So that's what we discussed on the last time. And to be able to select or deselect a particular port, you have got this pin number A0 and A1, which as per the address decoding logic can be connected to uh, any of the two pins of your microprocessor, whether it is 8085 or 8086. So we will see one such interfacing example in today's session, right? So port, if you want to select any port, you have got this A0, A1 lines, and whatever is the value 000110 or 11, accordingly this can be selected, right? So this is what we have discussed on the last turn, and we then saw this diagram, which is the functional pin diagram of 8255 programmable peripheral interface, where you can see that there is this group A. Group A means port A and upper parts of port C, four upper bits of port number C. Similarly, you have group B and the lower part of this port numbers C, right? So these are the lower four bits of port C, and this is the port B, right? So you have got a group A control and group B control. So we will talk more about what is the content of group A control and group B control a little later. But most of the times, group A control and group B control, when we will see the format, we will understand what bits are there for both of these, right? Then you have these control signals, which are read, write, A0, A1, reset, and chip select. These all inputs, they should come from the microprocessor. And for the external peripheral, I mean, this data bus is also attached. So this data bus will be connected to the microprocessor as well as to the external peripheral, right? One side you will have the connection of microprocessor, and other side there should be this peripheral. So whichever of them wants to transmit the data, that can be transmitted, right? And the specialty about these ports of group A and group B is that they can be programmed as in input as well as in output mode, right? Depending upon whatever mode you are using, right? So here is a typical example of connection of your 8255 to 8085 microprocessor, and you can see that you have got this D0 to D7, and here the data bus is connected. Here the data bus from microprocessor to this is connected, and the data bus itself and the contents of data bus itself will have the two lines which will be treated as the address lines. So in the address decoding logic, either you can connect address lines or you can connect data lines. So more on this we will be studying little later in this lecture itself, that how data bus is functioning as an address line here. So that will be clear to us from an example that we are going to see in today's lecture, right? And then you have got some chip select logic. So chip select logic, this is a representative chip select logic. You can have two address lines or multiple address lines which will be selecting the chip whenever desired. And since this microprocessor 8085 is assumed here to operate in the minimum mode of operation, so in minimum mode of operation, this IO/M write and read signals are separately available. From there, you have to generate the input-output read, input-output write signal, etc. by using the decoder. So that way you can generate these signals and connect it to 8255. And then reset is also there. Whenever this microprocessor is reset, this 8255 programmable peripheral interface is also reset. And resetting this 8255 will mean that all of the port will be working in the input mode. All of the port will be working in the input mode, right? So that's what we saw about this. And then we moved on to this bit select reset mode, BSR mode, bit set reset mode. So there were four modes that we are going to study. One is the bit set reset mode. Then there is mode number 0, mode number 1, and mode number 2. These are the four modes. Now this bit set reset mode, it is for port number C only. It is for port number C only. And the control word register format, as you can see here, is given by these 8 bits. This nomenclature of D0, D1 to D7, it usually represents a data bus, because to this control register, you will have your data bus connected, and data bus will be manipulating the data of this control word register so that appropriate ports can be selected in 8255 programmable peripheral interface. So in BSR mode, how do you identify a BSR mode? To identify a BSR mode, the first bit of this format register has to be 0. If it is so, then the BSR mode operation is there, and the rest of the 3 bits are don't care, so they do not have any meaning. Then after that, the 3 bits that you see, they will be telling you the address of which bit to change, right? Which bit is to be changed. The address of that in form of its binary equivalent is written in B3, B2, and B1. And this set reset is for whether you want to set that bit, that means you want to put the value of that bit as 1, or otherwise you want to make the value of that as 0. So accordingly, you have to put one value here. So this bit set reset mode is essentially applicable for port C, and which bit you want to change, it can be changed from here. So this bit set reset mode is helpful in some serial communication operations maybe, or later we will see it will be helpful in some kind of interfacing, right? So this is one mode which is applicable only to port number C. Then if this bit is not 0, if this bit is 1, in that case we have input-output modes. And input-output modes can be of various types. So let us see that. If this bit number, this is again the same control word format that you see here. This is the same control word format. And if you see this bit number 7, if it is 0, we have got bit mode, BSR mode. And this is applicable only for port C, and it has no effect on the rest of the modes. But if this bit happens to be 1, then there are 3 subcategorizations. There can be mode 0, mode 1, or mode 2. And in mode 0, mode 0 is called a simple input output. Simple input output means microprocessor will be throwing the data at the output device, and whether output device is taking it fully or not, it is not taken care, it is not taken into consideration. So that's what we mean by simple input output. One big disadvantage of simple input output is if the peripheral that is attached to the microprocessor is slower in nature, then in that case some of the data might be lost. But in this mode, microprocessor does not care. So it is advisable to attach a same speed peripheral together with the microprocessor. Even if the peripheral is faster, that is also a disadvantageous situation, right? Because in that case, microprocessor will be losing some data. So that's what we call as simple input-output mode. And this is applicable for all of the ports, port A, port B, and port C. Any of the ports can operate in simple input-output mode, right? Then the second mode that we have here is mode number one. This mode number one is called as handshake input output for ports A and B. For ports A or B, port C bits are used for handshaking. Now, as I told you that if you want to have a reliable communication between two devices, so for having a reliable communication, you need to have a mechanism of acknowledgement, right? For example, if you send some messages on WhatsApp, then they have this tick mechanism for verifying whether the message has been reached to the user and has it been read by the user. So there is this mechanism of two blue ticks. Similarly, when a device sends a data to another device, there has to be some mechanism of acknowledgement. So that acknowledgement is done by various ways. One such mechanism is called as handshaking. Handshaking mechanism is there. One device will send the data, another device will receive it, and after receiving it will acknowledge that I have received the complete data and now I am ready for getting more data. So in that way, reliable communication can be established, right? Even if you have a slower and a faster device, until the acknowledgement comes from the receiver, the sender will not be sending its data. So speed there has got no meaning. It all depends on the comfort of both of the devices, if the mechanism of handshaking is there. So in mode number one, this handshaking is there and it is applicable to port number A and port number B. But the thing is, once port A has been programmed in input mode, it has to remain in input mode for its entire operation, or the same is true for the output mode, right? So if it is programmed in output mode, it has to be in output mode. And this is applicable for both ports number A and ports number B. Port C bits are used for handshaking. Obviously, there has to be the mechanism of acknowledgement. So port C bits, they are busy in handshaking. And as we said that group A comprises of port A and the upper part of port C, and group B comprises of the port B and the lower part of port C. So this group A and group B, out of which 8 bits can be transferred from A or B, and rest of the bits they are involved, rest of the bits of port C, they are helping this transfer by introducing this handshake mechanism. So this mode seems to be more useful than mode 0. This mode seems to be more useful than mode 0 because here there will be no data loss. So does that mean that this mode 0 is a bad mode and shouldn't be used? No, it is not the case. For slower peripherals which are known beforehand, mode 0 also will serve the purpose, right? So we will see some interfacing in mode 0 in today's lecture. Then after you have got mode 2, right? Mode 2 is also like mode 1, where handshaking mechanism will also be there, but the only point of differences are two. First is it will be bidirectional in nature. Bidirectional means once a port has been programmed in mode 2, it is not restricted to become only input port or output port. It can dynamically change itself. Sometimes it will be doing input operation and sometimes it will be doing output operation, right? But the second point of difference is that this mode is only applicable to port number A. This mode is only applicable to port number A. And this port B, meanwhile port B and port C, port B can either be in mode 0 or mode 1, and port C bits are used for handshaking. Port C bits are used for handshaking signals, right? So you can see that the amount of ports which can be operated in a particular mode. In mode 0, all the 3 ports are available. In mode 1, only A and B ports are available, and in mode number 2, only port A is available, right? So this is the way we have got mode 0, mode 1 and mode 2, right? So I think this is clear to everyone. This thing we have completed on the last term. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Then we saw the format for this 8255 programmable peripheral interface for the input-output modes. Now, the thing is, this part is more of theoretical side, and you are going to interface things. So this is more of a part of electronics and communication, but this is necessary in the course. So I'm little slow on explaining these formats, etc., so that you can get accustomed to all this. Because in future we are also going to have another integrated circuits, which will be studied in the same way, right? So once we are clear with the format, we have to study some interfacing examples, actual practical interfacing examples, right? So this is the general format of input-output modes in 8255 programmable peripheral interface, and you can see that if the D7 has to be one for this control word register to be interpreted as your input output mode operation. Otherwise, it would be a BSR mode operation. So once this is set as 1, the meaning of these bits is illustrated here. So this mode is applicable to, this part is applicable to group A and this part is applicable to group B. So for group A, you can see that there could be three modes which are possible: mode number 0, mode number 1, and mode number 2. Because in group A you have port A, and port A can operate in all of the three modes. So that is why you need two bits to distinguish its three modes: 0 0, 0 1, 1 0, or 1 1 for mode number 2. So this will decide your mode number for this port A, and whether this port A is operating as an input or output port. So if it is 1, it is input; if it is 0, it will be operating as an output port. Similarly, since with port A, upper part of port C is also there to help it in the handshaking process when mode 1 or mode 2 will be there. So whether this upper part of port C is operating as the input port or output port, it will be decided by this these two set of bits, right? Similarly, for this group B, in group B you have port B and port C. So port B can operate in either mode number 0 or mode number 1. So that is why for mode selection you only have one bit here, which can be 0 or 1. And for port B, whether it is operating as the input output port, you have one bit to set that. And port C lower, it also has input output combination, which can be set in one bit, right? So this is the general format. We have to supply various values here to be able to program our 8255 PPI in various input-output modes, right? Then we, on the last time we left here, we were discussing mode 0 of 8255 programmable peripheral interface. Now this mode 0 is an interesting mode, as we said that there is no strategy of acknowledgement. There is no strategy of acknowledgement. If a slower peripheral is connected, the microprocessor will just throw up data and the peripheral is supposed to receive it, or vice versa, right? So here there is no mechanism of acknowledgement, and we were studying this timing diagram of mode 0 on the last term, and we said that there will be no time in the timing diagram as we used to have it in microprocessors 8085 and 8086. And the reason for that was simple, because the 8255 programmable peripheral interface, it did not had a clock associated with it. So if the clock is not there, how will you draw the timing diagrams? The point is the synchronization from clock is not there. But the thing is that the sequence of operations which will happen, it is there. It is there. In some sequence, the operations will happen, and that sequence is already there. And those sequence of operations, they are initialized by the microprocessor itself, right? So we will take an example and see how things happen in mode 0 for 8255 programmable peripheral interface. So let's first study some important features of mode number 0. So the very first point is two ports, port A and port B, and two 4-bit ports, CL and CU, that is C lower and C upper, are available. So in mode 0, as we said that all of the three ports, port A, port B, and port C, can be programmed. So you have a total of three ports, PA, PB, and PC, or you can consider them as four ports, PA, PB, and PC lower and PC upper, right? So that way you can have four ports also with different capabilities. Then the second point is all the ports can be separately programmed as input or output. It is not necessary that all of them has to be programmed either as input or as output. You can have any combinations. So you see that there are these four ports and any of them can be input or output. So various combinations can be made, right? And third point is if the port is programmed as output, then the outputs are latched. This is very important, right? This 8255 IC, it has got buffers and latches. It has got buffers and latches. And what is the usage of buffers and latches? If the output peripheral, if the input output peripheral uh, is trying to give some data, to 8085, or if the microprocessor is trying to give some data to 8255, right? Those two are very different situations. So in this, if a port is programmed as output, the outputs are latched. The port is programmed as output. What does that mean? The microprocessor is trying to give some data to 8255, and 8255 is trying to give some data to the peripheral, right? So the final transfer is between the microprocessor to the output device, to the device which is connected to the 8255, and that is treated as an output device. So in that case, whatever data is offered by microprocessor, it will be taken by the 8255 IC, and between 8255 IC and the output device, there will be a buffer. There will be a buffer onto which this data will be kept. And whenever the peripheral is ready, it will take the data, it will read the data from that particular buffer and take the data in it and acknowledge appropriately. So this is very important point. If the port is programmed as output, all the outputs are latched. That means once the data has been kept onto that output buffer, that remains there irrespective of whatever changes goes inside the 8255 or the microprocessor, so that the data will remain available for the output device. And we will see why this is important when we will take a practical example, right? So if the port is programmed as input mode, the inputs are buffered, right? Inputs are buffered, outputs are latched, and inputs are buffered. So there is again another buffer for taking the inputs. The input procedure will mean that microprocessor is taking something from the peripheral, right? So that is what we mean by input. So peripheral will keep the data on one type of buffer, and there the terminology that we used for saving the data is buffered. In the case of output, if the output was there and it was kept onto the output buffer, then the terminology that we use is the outputs are latched. This latched terminology comes from the latching of addresses itself. Whenever the addresses are put onto uh, through the address bus, there were ICs which were used to latch those addresses. So you can also call that as buffered technically, but generally when the outputs are there, we use the terminology of latched, and when the inputs are there, we use the terminology of buffered, right? As now the fifth point is, as four ports are to be used, since we are using four ports, 16 different input output configurations are possible. 16 different input output configurations are possible, which is very obvious because you have four ports and individual of them can be programmed as input or output port. So obviously there will be 16 different input output configurations, right? So then there is no facility for interrupt driven input output. So we will see what this means in a short while. When acknowledgement is not there, interrupts will not be there. So this is what you need to remember as of now, and it will become clear in a short while why we are saying so, right? So now let's come to the timing diagram. Let's come to the timing diagram of this situation. And in mode 0, you know that there will be either a read operation or a write operation, and accordingly there could be either an output operation or an input operation, right? So let us take an example where the microprocessor is trying to read something, something. Now, before looking at this figure, let's have a look at this particular diagram, right? And let us try to illustrate that this is 8085, this is 8255, which is connected to it in some fashion. And suppose with port A or port B or port C, any peripheral is connected. A peripheral is connected. And now the microprocessor would like to perform a read operation. It would like to take some input from the peripheral. Suppose the peripheral is connected at port A and we are trying to read some data into the microprocessor. So which is the first operation that should be initiated? Which is the second operation? Which is the third operation? So please make a guess about it. What should happen first in the microprocessor, then second, then third, and so on and so forth? What should happen first in the microprocessor? This microprocessor intends to read the data from the peripheral, which is assumed that connected at port number A. So what should be the very first operation that you see out of these inputs or outputs that are there? What should be activated or deactivated first, very first? Should we put the address first on A0 and A1, or should we put the data first, or take the data first? Should we just activate the chip select signal first, or should we provide the read or write signal first, or should we reset the system first? That's what I am asking. What should be the first operation if the microprocessor intends to read things from an input-output device? Any answers, anyone? You all are aware that next week your Viva is there. Next week your Viva is there. I'll shortly put the schedule. So please be prepared for it because it will happen and the evaluation will happen. So you can't remain silent now. You have to speak up. Next week your Viva is there, and for that you have to read complete 8086 and 885 and whatever has been completed by now. But anyway, first of all, raise your hands if you all are present here. Okay, so a good number of people are present here. So I am asking a simple question. If the microprocessor intends to read something, if the microprocessor intends to read something, what should be the first operation that should be done? That's what I am asking. Let me see how many people are still present. Okay, so the first operation that needs to be done is the activation of this 8255 chip. As I already told you that microprocessor, various devices can be connected to it, and all of the devices, they are not activated simultaneously at the same time. So when microprocessor wants to read a peripheral, it has to activate the interface for reading that peripheral. So the first operation that should happen is the activation of this chip select signal. And since this is an active low signal, a value of 0 has to be provided here, right? So you can see that here the first thing that will happen is the activation of chip select signal, and together with the activation of chip select signal, you have to provide the values of A0 and A1, because as we have seen in this as we have seen in this chart, that if the chip is activated, with the activation you have to tell them which port you want to deal with or whether you want to write the control register. So the first thing that will happen when this system of three things is there: microprocessor, 8255 PPI, and a peripheral which is connected. So the very first thing that should happen is the chip select signal should be activated together with the specification of A0 and A1. These address lines should be activated via value intended. So which value should be used first? Should we directly provide the value as 00 for accessing the port A, or should we do something else, assuming that the port A is the port which we want to deal with? So let's have a look at this diagram again. Right, here we have first of all activated the chip select signal, and after activating the chip select signal, you can see that this A0 and A1 line is also activated, and the contents of this A0 and A1 line happens to be 0 and 0. So that is port A. Port A is there, so the contents of this line is 0, 0, right? So this thing should be done first, and this is activated. How we will know it? So you can notice that there is a change of signals here. So a change of signals is represented. A change of signals is represented by this flipping sign of the lines that are present here. So this first operation that has happened before any other operation is the setting of this chip select signal and A0 and A1 signal. By this mechanism, the microprocessor now access to a port A. It has now access to this port number A. Then after that port A has been accessed, what will you do? What will you do? You want to read something from that port. You want to read something from that port, right? So what will you do in that case? In that case, the peripheral that is attached, it will put some input bits. It will put some 8 input bits onto the buffer that we have already discussed, right? So you can see that this input is there and this input changes the signal just after you have activated this chip select and A0 and A1. Now what will be the gap between these two? This is undecided because you do not have T0 and T1 and T2 and T3 here. Only the sequence matters. So this input will be there and it will be kept onto the buffer. Once it is kept onto the buffer, this read signal will be activated by the microprocessor. This read signal will be activated by the microprocessor. This comes from the microprocessor itself. And after the read signal has been activated, this D0 to D7 data bus will be activated and it will read the data from the buffer that was there. And after that, once the data has been read, these signals will be closed in the order, right? So first of all, this read signal will be lowered. Once the read signal is lowered, this input signal will also be closed, and this CS and A0 and A1 signal, they will be set for the next operation. So in this way, you can make an input operation from the peripheral to the microprocessor. So this is mode 0 of 8255 programmable peripheral interface, right? Now let's take an example of this. Let's take an example of this from your textbook itself. Um, this is the question, and these are the kind of questions you might expect in your examinations also, or maybe in your vibe also, right? So the question is interface a 8255 with 8086 to work as an input output port, right? Obviously 8255 can only do this job, so this statement is redundant. You can simply write interface 8255 with 8086. Initialize port A as output port, port B as input port, and port C as output port. So you have got three ports in 8255, port A, port B, and port C. Out of those three ports, you want all of the port to be in output mode except B. B should be acting as an input port, and port A and port C should act in output mode, right? Port A address should be 0740H. So this is fixed. The address of port A that we should use is 0740H, right? Write a program to sense switch positions SW0 to SW7 connected to port B. So the 8255 IC is there, and port B is used in input mode as we have already illustrated. And at port B, a set of switches is connected to 8 bits of port B. Switch number 0 to switch number 7, as you can see, right? And those switches can be either on or off. So that input can be taken at port number B, right? The sensed pattern is to be displayed on port A. So whatever pattern is sensed from port B, it is to be displayed on port A, to which 8 LEDs are connected. So to the output of port number A, 8 LEDs are connected, and whatever you read from port B, the status of those switches, it is to be displayed on port number B. And while the port C lower displays the number of switches out of the total 8 switches. So as you can notice that port A has got 8 switches, out of which some of them will be on and some of them will be off depending upon the status of the switches on port B. So port C should display the total number of switches which are active, the total number of switches which are on, the lower part of port C. Port C lower should be able to display that. So this is the problem. Is this problem understood by everyone?
No, sir.
Which part is not understood? Read the problem once and tell me if it is understood or not. Okay, I will just draw a diagram so that you can understand this problem better. Right, so this is your 8085 microprocessor. So my handwriting would be bad because I am using this mouse directly. So this is 8085 microprocessor. This is 8255 programmable peripheral interface. So this is your 8255, and there is some peripheral which is connected, right? There are three different things that we have to do. So I am making these three different peripherals here, right? And this is say port number A, and these are 8 bits of port number A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Similarly, you have got this port number B. This is port number B here for 8255, and there is a port number C of this 8255. Everyone has got 8 bits, right? Now, what do you need to do here is this port A should operate in output mode, and this port C should operate in output mode also. Only this port B is there, which should operate in input mode. Is this thing clear to everyone?
Yes,
This
sir.
is what they have illustrated in the question. Interface an 8255 with 8086 to work as an input-output port. Initialize port A as output port B as input port, and port C as output port. Then the port A address should be 0740H. So this is fixed, right? Ports will have addresses. So the address of this port A should be 0740H. So that we will see how we will assign an address to it while we will solve this program. Now they are asking us to write a program to sense switch positions SW0 sorry, to SW7 connected to port B. So at port number B, there are these eight bits which are there, and to these 8 bits, these switches are connected. So you have got 8 switches: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or let me draw it in this way. Let me just remove this, and let me have 8 switches here. So these are the 8 switches. This is switch number 1, SW1. And similarly, you have 8 such switches. This is switch number 8. Or if we begin numbering from 0, it should be 7. So this is SW0 and this is SW7. So if this switch is on, then I mean, these switches are all connected to this port bits, right? So whatever is the status of these switches, it will be read by this port number B. That's what they are asking us to do. Port B is the input port, and it will be reading the status of SW7, right? So write a program to sense switch positions from SW to S7 connected at port B. The sensed pattern is to be displayed on port A. So whatever pattern you will read from this port B, it has to be displayed from onto this port number A. And what is available at port A? So let me again redraw this port number A's peripheral. So at port number A, you have LEDs. So how to draw the LEDs? Let me draw LEDs in this fashion. Okay. So this is LED number. Okay. Let me take it in this fashion. This is LED number 1. This is LED number 2, and so on and so forth. You have LED till 8, right? And these all LEDs, they are connected to this first LED is connected to the first bit, second LED is connected to the second bit, and so on. So whatever switch status you will read from this port B, you have to, if that switch is on, you have to light that LED, and if that switch is off, you have to put this LED off. That's what we intend to do, right? So this is what they have asked. The sensed pattern is to be displayed on port A, to which 8 LEDs are connected, while port number C lower displays number of switches on the total 8 switches. You have got these total 8 switches here, and some of these switches might be on and some of these switches might be off. So you have to count the number of switches which are on. And suppose 4 switches are on, so this port C will display a content 4, right, in binary. That is since only lower port of this port, lower part of this port C is used, there are some upper 4 bits and lower 4 bits. So if you are using lower 4 bits, then you can go up to 16 combinations. So if four out of them are on, you have to display 4 here in binary. That means you will have to display 0100 in the lower part of port number C. So is the problem now understood by everyone?
Yes, sir.
Is the problem understood by everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, my internet got disconnected, so I'm sharing my screen again. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, my internet got disconnected. I do not know what happens to the internet in the morning. No problem. So the problem understood by everyone. In what way we have to connect the ports and what function is performed by port A, port B, and port C.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's what we are going to do. So now the first thing is we have to decide. We have to decide what will be the value of the format that we have just seen. What will be the value of the format that we have just seen? So let's decide on the values of these bits. So what will be the value of bit number D7?
Sir, screen share
Yeah.
नहीं.
Oh, sorry. Let me share the screen also. Yeah, is it visible now to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the problem that we are working with. We have got 3 ports operating in output and input modes, and various peripherals are connected to them. And now what we want is we simply want to first of all decide on the values of these format bits, because the control word register has to be set appropriately to initialize port A, port B, and port C in input and output modes as desired. So let us talk about these bits one by one. What should be the value of this D7?
1.
D7 should be 1 because we want IO mode operation. We are operating in mode number 0. Every port is operating in mode number 0. So we want an IO mode operation, and that is why D7 should be 1. What should be the value of D5 and D6? Please read the
0, 0.
interpretation and let me know.
0, 0.
The value of D5 and D6 also has to be 0, 0 because D5 and D6 they correspond to group A, and group A contains port A as well as the lower part of upper part of port C. So every A and C port they are definitely operating in this mode number 0, so you have to put that as 0, 0 here. Then port A, it is operating as input or output port? It is operating
Output,
as an
sir.
output port. So that is why, that is why it also has to be 0 here. This port A bit has to be 0 here. Similarly, if you talk about this port C upper, let's keep it 0 because anyway it is not going to be used as per the problem. So let's keep it 0 in the output mode because port C as a whole is put in output mode. Then what is the mode of operation of what is the mode of operation of port B? Port B is operating in input mode.
Yes,
So
sir.
you have to put a 1 here. You have to put a 1 here, and then port B is operating in the input mode. So definitely this is mode 0. It will definitely operate in mode 0. So this has to be kept 0. This has to be kept as 1 because it is operating in the input mode. And port C lower, it is operating in the output mode. So you have to take the value of 0 again. So let us see the format that is available there. So this B7 is 1, everything else is 0 except for this port number B, which is acting as an input, and this bit is 0. So 82H, I mean, if you convert this content into its hexadecimal equivalent, it will be 82H. This 82H value has to be written onto the control word register of 8255. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now let us see the selection of addresses, right? So here in this problem, we have first seen that we have selected the control word 82H, and then first of all, they have also given us that the address of port A should be 0740. The address of port A should be 0740. So here the addresses of all of the ports are written in 16-bit fashion, right? Because we are assuming that we are using a 8085 microprocessor to begin with, or even 8086 can be used, but the address lines that we will be using is from A0 to A15 of whatever microprocessor we are using, right? So the address for port A is already fixed, which happens to be 0740. So you can see that this is the equivalent for 0, this is for 7, this is for 4, and this is for 0. So this address is already fixed. Now, how do we select the address for another ports, port B, port C, and the control word register? So this is a little bit tricky question. Now you already know that in this diagram we have seen, let me show you that diagram. Yes, in this diagram we have already noticed that this A0 and A1 bit, they have to be connected to these address lines A1 to A0 of the microprocessor. Now this A1 to A0 is not essentially the address line of the microprocessor by its name only. You can connect any address line here which will act as the select line, right? So how do you select the addresses of this? Now here one fact is taken into consideration. Whether you are operating with 8085 or 8086, this scheme should work. This has been kept in mind here, right? So in 8086, tell me if you operate, then what is the interpretation of A0 bit in terms of memory? In 8086, if you operate, what is the interpretation of A0 bit for even and odd banks of memory? Anyone with an answer?
Even bank.
A0 will be used with even bank only, right? And frequently when you will try to read or write something onto the peripherals, A0 bit will change. It will become either 0 or 1 depending upon whether even bank or odd bank has been selected. So this A0 is a bit which will keep on toggling most of the times. So we cannot attach this A0 to the A0 of our 8255 programmable peripheral interface. And on that note, we have taken A1 and A2. This A1 and A2 bit, they are selected to be attached to the A0 and A1 of our 8255 peripheral. 8255 peripheral has got A0 and A1 input, and we are going to attach A1 and A2 of the microprocessor to that peripheral, right? Why? Because A0 bit will keep on changing if 8086 microprocessor is used. So that is why you can see that 00, 01, 10 and 11, as we have discussed in the table, in the beginning, port A, port B, port C and control register can be selected by putting 00, 01, 10 and 11 value onto the A0 and A1 of 8255 peripheral. But to this A0, we will connect A1 of the microprocessor, and to this A1 we will connect A2 of the microprocessor. So those values are set here accordingly, 00, 01, 10 and 11, right? So those values are set accordingly. And since this addressing, it began from 0740 kind of thing, so we have kept this 0, 7 and 4 as it is. That is why these addresses are in this order: 0740, 0742, 0744 and 0746. Is it clear to everyone how addresses are decided? Is this address scheme clear to everyone or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So it is not the only scheme that is possible. Somebody might say that I will select something else as my address, right? Address lines. I'm attaching 06 and 07. So accordingly, you have to make your own scheme, right? But if you take any other scheme than this, then there is a possibility that you might have to use additional AND gates, NOT gates, OR gates to accomplish the same thing. So, right? So this is a one good scheme and not the only possible scheme that could be there. So this is one scheme that can be there, right? So any addresses can be selected. Once these addresses have been selected, now we also know the control word. We also know the content of control word that has to be written there, 82H. So now after connecting these lines, A1 and A2 to your 8255 programmable peripheral interface, now let us write a simple program to achieve what has been asked in the program. So what we will do, we will first of all write the control word. So please have a look at this program. In this DX register, I am moving the address 0746H. 0746H, because if you see here, the address of this control word register is 0746, right? So in this DX register, you will put 0746 in hexadecimal. Inside AL register, you will move 82H, because the content that we have just decided for the format of flag register is 82H. And by this command out DX comma L, it will keep this content 82H onto the port number 0746, right? For microprocessor, whether it is a 8255 IC or it is any other IC or any other peripheral, it is just an output port where some data can be supplied from the microprocessor. So the address of that has to be kept in DX register, and the content that is to be supplied, the 8-bit content that is to be supplied there, it has to be kept in AL register, right? So that is the requirement of this out command, and you will execute this out command. By this command, your control word register will be written. And once control word register will be written, since it has the content of 82H, it will know that port A and port C will perform in output mode, port B will be acting as the input port, right? So that will be decided. After that, you will subtract from DX a value of 04H. Why? Because you want to get input from port B. So what is the address of port B? Port B has got this address of 0742. So how you will get 0742 from 0746? By subtracting a value of 4. So you have subtracted a value of 4 here, and you have got value of 0742 here, which indicates now that in DX you have address of port number B. You could have also used the command move DX comma 0742H. That would also be valid here, right? So in DX now you have address of port B. Now you want to take input from that port. So you will write this command in AL comma DX. So DX has the address, and whatever 8-bit content is present at that address, that will be kept in AL register, and that will be inputted by using this input command. So the data is read by the microprocessor by using this input command, right? So the data is kept in AL register, the data which you have read. Now you want to access the port A for displaying that data. What is the address of this port A? 0740H, right? So this to obtain 0740 from 0746, which was the content of DX, you will again subtract a 02. So you have got 0740H. Now onto that you want to make an output, out DX comma AL. So AL already had the 8-bit contents which were there, which were read from the switch from port B, and it will be kept onto the output port, which is your port number A now. And the output port, when it will be kept onto the output port, the corresponding LEDs will be lit up, which were corresponding to the on switches, right? So that way you have kept it as output here. Then you want to access the port, number C for actually displaying the total number of on switches. So the next line of codes that I have written from this line, move BL00H to this particular halt instruction, this is for counting the total number of on switches and actually displaying them onto the C register. So for that purpose, what you have done is you have initialized the switch count in BL register. I mean, initially you do not know how many switches will be on. So you have initialized a value of 00 in BL register, and in a loop you will count how many switches are on. So initial value is 00. Then in CH register you have moved a value of 08 because maximum switches that can be on is 8, which are connected to port number A. In the best case, all of the switches could be on, or in the worst case, all of the switches could be off. So the range will be from 0 to 8. So you have initialized this counter in CH register, right? Then what you are doing, you are trying to count the switches. So the number of on switches is kept in AL register already. So what you will do is you will rotate the content of this AL register left through the carry flag, and you will be checking that carry flag. And if that carry flag contains a value of 1, that means the switch is on. And if that carry flag does not contain a value of 1, the switch is not on. So accordingly, you will update this BL thing. Accordingly, you will update this BL register. So rotate AL and jump on no carry to XX label. So this XX is decrease the value of CH. Obviously, you have to decrease the count of this and then jump to this YY label again. So if it is, it will again perform in this fashion. If it is no carry, it will jump to XX, and if carry is there, it will increment the BL. So finally, when you will count this, you will have the value in BL corresponding to the total number of on switches. And after that value has been obtained in this BL register, you simply display it onto the port number C by moving the value of BL into AL, keeping DX. In DX, you have to keep the address. So 0704 will be the address of that port number C. If you notice from this table, this port number C has got 0744 as the address. So that address is kept by adding 4 here and out DX comma AL, right? So, and then the system is halted. So is this program understood by everyone? How to interface things through 8255 programmable peripheral interface, how to decide the addresses, how to decide the content of this control word register, etc. Is this understood by everyone or not?
Yes, sir.
So these kind of simple questions could be there in your examinations. And mind you, this is only for mode number 0. So mode number 0, which was assumed to be very simple, it only transfers the data and do not take care of the handshaking signals. For that mode only, you have to do this much number of arrangement, right? So in the laboratory session today, we will see how to interface a keyboard, to this 8085 or 8086 microprocessor by using 8255 programmable peripheral interface, and we will interface the keyboard in mode number 0 only, right? So that's what we are going to see in today's laboratory session, together with some more examples on interfacing, etc. Right? So for interfacing, etc., we do not have any software available for most of the devices. For some of the devices we do have, but I guess for 8285, 8255 we do not have any. So we have to understand things from hardware as well as software perspective. So we can see what best can be done there. Any doubts in today's lecture?
सर वाइवा लैब के टाइम पे ही होगी ना?
No, it will, as per the instruction that I have received on from the IIIT authorities, they said that it will be continuing for the entire week. So I guess there are 160 people. It is impossible to take the viva of 160 people in one laboratory. Because even if there were 120 people, that way I would be able to give only 1 minute to each person. And what will I ask in 1 minute? So it will continue for the entire week in the 3 lecture sessions as well as in the laboratory session. So I will just post a list of the sequence in which the vivas should be happening. So I will post a list accordingly. You should be prepared for the lab viva. And this viva is important because the actual assessment will happen through viva only. In our exams, you will definitely copy the answer sheet, so I won't be able to access who is writing correctly or not. So that is why this viva will be taken very seriously, right? And even in the examinations, you won't be able to cheat because I have different strategies for making my question paper. That will be difficult for you to cheat. But anyway, viva has to be taken very seriously, right? Any other doubts? Any other technical doubts in the lecture? And this interfacing lecture, it is not available in the pre-recorded videos. So you can download this lecture's recording because this interfacing that I have taught in the previous set of lectures that I have given to you, it is not present there. So it has to be understood from this video only. Since you are people from CS and IT, that's why I am elaborating on these portions. That was not given to ECE people because they have already completed that in the digital logic and computer design course. So this portion was not included in the previous recorded videos. Okay, so if you do not have any doubts, I will see you in the laboratory session where we will.
Sir,
Yeah.
could you upload all those slides?
Slides. Okay, I'll upload the slides for today's lecture. No issues in there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.